Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and as you can see right there in front of you, we have got another Safari LTD review for you today, and it is the Camarasaurus. Now, if there's anyone that has followed my channel for a significant period of time, I'm sure from time to time I've made mention of the fact that Camarasaurus is my favorite sauropod, so it is impressive beyond belief to me that Safari LTD went and read my mind this year and created both my favorite sauropod and my favorite theropod and threw them both out for their 2019 lineup. So we got the Carnotaurus, which I have reviewed already, and now we have the Camarasaurus. So they are just sitting here thinking, how can we make Andy's dreams come true? Oh, that's right, we'll give him everything he loves. So I, in turn, love you, Safari LTD, for doing that and creating another awesome Camarasaurus. I do have the previous Camarasaurus from Carnegie, the Safari LTD Carnegie line, but I don't have it out as it's in storage. A lot of my stuff is really boxed away, packed up in storage, but honestly, this one is better than the previous release, without question. It is just so nice. It's beautiful, and I feel like one thing that was a little weird about the previous Carnegie release was the head sculpt. I felt like the face and the whole head in general looked a little iffy to me, but this one has totally improved that area. The head sculpt on this is really nice, and the overall paint scheme looks beautiful. At first glance looking at it, it's just fantastic. So let's get a closer look at it. So starting up here at the head sculpt, again, you can really see why I say that the head sculpt is so improved. If you have the previous Carnegie release by Safari LTD, you can just go ahead and take a look at the head sculpt on that one, and then go ahead and take a look at the head sculpt on this one. There is a world of difference, in my opinion. I think that it just looks so beautiful. The head sculpt is really nicely done, and the entire area around the eye just really makes it kind of come to life for me. For some reason, it just looks so real, so genuine, and just beautiful. It just kind of gives you the feel like it really has a emotion to it. It just kind of looks like a living, real animal. I'm not really quite sure how to explain it or how they did it, honestly, but the head sculpt just has so much personality to me, and it's something that a lot of dinosaur figures, you don't really see that in. You kind of just see a lifeless version of a dinosaur. And more often than not, they still look very cool, but with this one, I feel like it just kind of looks alive and really just looks like it has, like I mentioned, a personality to it. And I don't know how or why it looks that way, but it does, and I really like it. I think that it just looks so cool. It makes this figure so unique because I can't ever recall getting that feeling really before from looking at a different dinosaur figure. So that is definitely a huge factor for me into how much I like this Camarasaurus by Safari LTD. Looking up here, you can see that the nostrils are really beautifully sculpted, and the mouth is nicely sculpted as well. You can see that looks very good. They put that black streak of black coloration inside the mouth to really make it nice and dark like it would look. The eye overall looks beautiful. Very nice light coloration with a black pupil. And it looks the same for both sides. Very nicely painted. Very nicely sculpted. No sloppiness or anything. And I feel like the coloration on this is a very realistic color. Definitely something I could see the Camarasaurus being. So that's a plus as well. And another thing that I kind of really dig about this figure is the coloration on it looks very good, but it kind of just has like this dusty type of a look to it, and it just kind of makes it feel like what an animal this big would look like. It would be very dusty and kind of a dirty looking animal, and they've somehow pulled that off in the paint for this as well. It just kind of looks like it reminds me of a very large elephant, basically, with the way that the paint looks and the way it's applied. It's very dusty and large looking. Just it's very hard to explain as well. But maybe if you buy this figure and you get it out, look at it in person, you'll really understand what I'm trying to explain and tell you as far as the paint goes. It just looks so super cool. So coming back up here into the neck, you can see that the creases in the skin look very nice. And as we run down the neck, you can see the detail looks beautiful. The sculpt work overall is done really well on the neck in general. It looks very nice. And then we get down here, you can see the shoulder blade is elaborated. The chest is just absolutely huge as far as the musculature and everything goes. And the shoulder blade area it just looks very, very buff, very beefy. You can see that the front leg here is very muscular, and you can also see that again, beautiful attention to detail on the part of Safari, as they are showing you that the animal lifting its leg here is pushing into the skin, protruding the skin back, and that looks very cool and just really gives you a sense of the movement of the dinosaur. The skin creases here where the leg is bent look absolutely perfect as well. And then we get down here into the foot. Again, you got that claw that's nicely painted and sculpted back there. There we go, a little hard to get to, but it looks very good. The foot overall looks fantastic. Same as the further away foot there also looks very good since we're down here looking at it. Then we run back up here into the stomach and look at the skin detail. That looks really, really nice. As I turn it, you can just see it just looks like such a large animal. They've done such a great job as far as the sculpting of the skin on this dinosaur, and I really, really like it. It's a very nice skin fold and stuff, some hanging skin, a little bit of loose skin here down in the lower area of the stomach. And again, as this right rear leg is taking a step forward, it's kind of pushing into the skin here of the side of the stomach. Beautiful attention again to detail as always with Safari LTD. You can see the hip bone is very nicely elaborated up here, and the leg is very, very big and bulky as it should be. And then we run down here into the foot. Again, this foot is sculpted and painted very nicely as well. And then coming back up here into the leg, you can see that the creases and all the skin detail looks beautiful the whole way out. And again, it just looks exactly as it would look on an animal this large, and the tail is quite long and really, really beautiful looking. And then again, looking at this side, you can see as we come down the course of the neck that the detail of the skin and the texture of the skin looks beautiful. You can even see the skin hanging here. That kind of runs the entire course of the neck right here. The skin just hanging off, and that right there is just such a cool shot, and it really shows you how nice the paint is applied with the dark gray spots and stuff all over the place. Just looks super, super cool. And then we come down here into the shoulder blade of this front leg. Again, very big, very beefy and muscular. And then we come down here into the leg here as it's starting to kind of step up a little bit. This leg's taking a step over here. This one's arched as if it's about to go very, very soon. Sorry, that tag was in the way. I had to move that over a little bit. Now you can get a better idea of this leg. It looks very, very good. It's bent slightly there, and the way the skin is reacting around it with the sculpt work looks exactly as I would expect it to look. And you can see here as this leg here on the left side is not pushing back into the body. There is no skin being squished, and it's kind of pulling the skin, stretching it a little bit. And again, we can get a good idea of some of the loose hanging skin with just showing you how large this animal is with these skin folds here in the stomach area. That looks very, very cool. And with this leg here being stretched back a little bit, the skin is being stretched as well. So again, some very nice attention to detail as always being paid attention to on the part of Safari LTD. You can also see the hip bone up here. And then we run down the leg. The leg is very large, very muscular. Beautiful work done there. And then we start to come out the length of the tail. And again, the sculpting of the detail of the tail looks really quite extravagant. It looks quite beautiful. And the overall coloration is just fantastic. And as I said with the Carnotaurus in my last review, we are including the cloaca now on these Safari figures. Again, I don't recall if this was a recent addition or if they were doing this last year. For some reason, I can't really remember, but it is awesome to see it regardless because it just gives these figures such a huge step into the realistic direction that they need and really shows you just how realistic these sculpts really are. The overall paint, as I said before, just looks so cool because it honestly just comes off as like a very big dusty animal, and I think that is really nice. And all the coloration is very realistic potentially. It looks very natural on the animal here. It doesn't look like it's just paint applied in my opinion. It looks like it is potentially real body color. I love this lighter coloration and then this darker gray that just kind of very naturally meshes together and looks very cool. And then we've got these stripes up here on the back that have two different shades of brown that really just give it that striking appearance that it needs to jump out at you and just look super, super cool. One of the really impressive things about this Camarasaurus is its size. It's very large, and compared to previous years that we've had recently as far as their sauropods go, their sauropods are usually pretty big, but if we look back to the Diplodocus that they had a few years back, It was very, very long, but overall it wasn't a huge figure. It was just long compared to the previous Carnegie release, which was just ridiculously, massively huge. This Camarasaurus is definitely a step in the right direction, in my opinion, as far as the size goes for their sauropods. I feel like if you're going to make a sauropod, you need to make it pretty big because they themselves were pretty big. And they did a great job on that as far as the size of this Camarasaurus, because it is really quite a large figure, and I love the fact that it is. It's pretty heavy as well. So for a size to show you how large, if we go from the tail to the head, you are looking at just about almost on the dot 14 inches in length, or about 35, almost a little over 35 centimeters. And for a height, you were looking at about 6.5 inches, or about 16, a little over 16 centimeters, almost 16.5 centimeters. And for a size comparison, there is the 2019 Carnotaurus next to the 2019 Camarasaurus. He is currently trying to take a bite out of the leg of the Camarasaurus, so this could make for a very cool scene as far as posability of these two go, but it should give you a pretty good idea of how large the Camarasaurus is, because in the Carnotaurus review, if you recall, I stated that the Carnotaurus itself is a fairly large figure, definitely a very good size Carnotaurus, so you can see just how much larger the Camarasaurus is compared to the Carnotaurus, and that gives you a pretty good idea, or at least I would think it would, of the sheer size of this Camarasaurus, because it is really quite a large figure. So that is 2 for 2 in my opinion as far as these 2019 Safari LTD figures go. They are both awesome. Safari LTD is just killing it this year with their figures, in my opinion. This may be one of the best years that they've had in a long time, possibly ever, because these figures are just all so super nice. And one of the things that I felt like Safari maybe lacked a little bit, I think it was last year actually, for their figures, were the coloration. I felt like the coloration and the paint applied to them was pretty good, but it wasn't what they used to have. But with these newer 2019 figures, they are without question fantastically painted. They really all look really good as far as the paint goes compared to last year's figures. Not to say again that last year was bad, because they had a lot of great figures that came out last year from their 2018 lineup, but these newer 2019 ones, I feel like the paint applied to them just looks so much better than what we had previously. Just so far, looking at the Carnotaurus and this Camarasaurus, they are just a huge step in the right direction as far as the paint goes. Safari LTD has been a leader amongst the prehistoric figure line for many years, possibly longer than anybody else that is still around, and they are still showing you just why that is with these newer 2019 figures. This Camarasaurus is awesome, the sculpt is beautiful, the paint is beautiful, everything about this is just absolute sheer beauty. Again, it's the only dinosaur figure that I can honestly say that I've ever really looked at and honestly seen a personality to it. So that is a very cool thing about this Camarasaurus, and something that I just suggest that you guys go ahead and pick this guy up and look at it in person, and you can see that for yourself, because it is incredible. I will throw a link in the description to where you can go ahead and buy this Camarasaurus from the Safari LTD website, as I 1000% recommend it. It is just beautiful. So go ahead, click that link, go buy this, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.